What was your, yep, I'm definitely the a-hole moment? I was 15 when I got caught shoplifting press-on nails from CVS. Luckily, they didn't press charges, but my parents did. Not in court, not to the police. They relinquished their parental rights. It was a lengthy process, and they didn't have much evidence to give, so they made stuff up. Got family members to say I couldn't be trusted around their kids, paid my sister to say I threatened them with a kitchen knife, and that's how I spent my 16th birthday shoving my belongings into black bin bags and crying my eyes out. When I was almost done, my 8-year-old sister Emily ran in. I thought she was going to wrap her tiny self around me like she did when we were little, but she just asked if I could give her one last dollar before I left. My heart broke as I handed it to her, because I knew that after I was gone, my parents would need a new punching bag. Thanks, she exclaimed before waving and sprinting out of the room. I started fantasizing about the foster home. Told myself I was glad to leave, because at least my parents wouldn't be able to bother me anymore. But every time I tried to convince myself that it didn't hurt, it hurt even more. So I resorted to popping a nicotine mint at every chance I had, and forcing myself to disassociate. That, and hiding the ear of my dog Teddy in my pocket, the one I've had since I was 4. The last time everything felt okay. But the place was 10 times worse than I thought. Not because it was worse than my parents, it wasn't, but because my expectations for a fresh start were crushed. The dad was a fat-headed bald man, with a red face and forehead lines that made it clear he was angry all the time. Meanwhile, his wife looked like she was incapable of smiling. It was like the corners of her lips and eyebrows were superglued into looking stern and mean. But still, I walked in with a huge smile on my face, and when the social worker left, I tried to make small talk. "You guys have a beautiful home," I exclaimed, trying to keep the mood upbeat and lighthearted. The woman, whose name I learned was Martha, walked right up to me. I thought she was going to lunge at me for a hug, or at least give me a handshake. But no, she just screamed at me. "I don't know where your forgotten dog came from, but there is no yelling in our home." The whole time I had my face scrunched up, just trying to avoid her spit getting into my eyes. I glanced over at her husband, who was just pointing to the wall in front of me. I swear I thought he was pranking me, but that's when he said the words, "wall sit." I just stared at him. Now! Long story short, I was forced to hold a wall sit position until my knees gave out from under me as punishment. That night, I met my roommate. Luckily, she had been disowned by her parents too, except it wasn't for shoplifting. She had put rat poison in her mom's food because she saw her as the barrier of why her stepdad couldn't be with her. Like, "Okay, queen, please stay the F away from me." That morning when I went down for breakfast, there wasn't any. I assumed it was because of yesterday's screaming, until the foster parents clarified that they needed to put the child support into their savings. So every day one child of their choosing wouldn't eat so they could save money. Cool. That night I did what I always do in these situations of trapped abuse. I fantasized about being homeless, about what I would do to survive, and all the horrible things that could happen to me. But this time, I was interrupted by a new thought, a better one that was pure genius. I started acting like I had schizophrenia or some sort of psychosis. At first I just paused mid-sentence and look over my shoulder whispering, "Not now," or "I can't." Then I escalated. During dinner, I'd have full conversations with empty air, getting agitated and arguing with invisible people. I'd cover my ears and rock, begging them to stop screaming. I wrote disturbing messages on notebook pages, disconnected words, drawings of eyes watching me, warnings about them coming. After about 2 months, they started documenting everything. The foster parents called emergency psych evaluations when I barricaded myself in the bathroom, sobbing about demons trying to steal my skin. I researched symptoms during library time, word salad speech, paranoid delusions, command hallucinations, made sure to hit all the diagnostic criteria. Finally, after 4 months of this act, the foster care agency called my parents. They said I was displaying severe psychotic symptoms that went beyond their pay grade. My parents had to come get me. They had no choice. The agency threatened to sue them for knowingly placing a severely mentally ill child without proper disclosure. But the second I got home, my parents showed me my new safe space. The basement converted into a therapeutic environment with locks on the outside. It's for your own protection during episodes, they explained. No windows, cameras everywhere. Soundproofing they claim is to reduce stimulation. But I still had the upper hand because they didn't know I was perfectly healthy and ready to make them pay. Full story on channel, link below.